I feel like Austin is becoming LA part 2. So a lot of people, my manager just moved there.
Really? No way.
Yeah, he was in
Dope.
LA before. He literally like maybe 2 weeks ago. He's like brand new.
Oh, wow.
Just moved there by himself. He doesn't know anybody there.
Well, intro if
I'd love
you
to.
want. Yeah,
I
I'll
would
get
love
him.
to.
I'll show him the restaurants.
Maybe you have met him in New York at Scratch. Maybe. I don't
What's his
remember
name?
who was with me. Dave Renee. He worked with Jimmy Iovine for a really long time at Interscope.
Possibly. I met a bunch of people.
I don't
with you,
remember
so.
who I brought with me that
Yeah.
day. But yeah, he's awesome. He's the best. You'll love
Yeah.
him. I'd definitely love to intro you if you guys haven't met before.
Yeah, and even if we have, put us on a text, and I'll
Right.
make sure he gets into the restaurants. And
Oh, yeah,
tell him
I'm
which
sure he'd love that.
which barbecue's worth the wait and which one's not.
Okay. Yeah.
Which I won't say on on publicly. But,
Unless I ask him. No, I'm kidding.
but yeah, are we rolling?
Not a damn chance. Not a damn chance.
Well, dude, thank you so much for being
thank
here,
you, man.
for coming out.
Thank you guys for having me.
Dude, it's I mean, you are like the perfect specimen for this,
I appreciate you saying that.
because like we've known each other for a little while now,
Mm-hmm.
but like the thing that I think impresses me the most about you is the smile you have on your face at all times, And
I try.
well, you do.
Yeah.
But like, because it's like we're both very busy. We work very hard. I know how hard you work. And it's there's got to be some sort of mindset behind like how you able to like deal with, because there's no way you don't face adversity. There's no way that it's been an easy road for you. But really, I think we should maybe start with like, how does one go? Like, how do you even get into music, and how do you find your path from your intro to music to just like, being one of the biggest DJs in the fucking world?
Yeah. Well, I'll start with my path, and then I'll kind of go a little wider to general music path.
Sure.
My path was a little bit easier because both of my parents are musicians. So I grew up, I
right.
was a baby. My first memory is literally sitting at a piano. Like, not that
Okay.
I was able to play, I was a literal baby. But that was my memory. My memory is like piano, making music. My brother was taught violin at the age of 5, maybe. And I started with piano. And so that's our first memory. Like, we are born into it. And I think as a kid, when you learn something so early, especially if your parents are really into that, like Tiger Woods, I watched his documentary, that kid had to be good.
Yeah.
He was trained by somebody who's really good at a really early age, and my parents are really good musicians, so I sort of had a bit of a head start in that regard. And I remember not even wanting to learn. At some point, my parents gave me a separate teacher. They used to teach me.
Yeah.
And then when I started slacking, they were like, "You're gonna go there once a week." I'm like, "I don't want to do that." But you just don't fight with your parents at some age, right? So what that led to is until the age of 12, I had lessons, classical training, and then
On
at the age of-
piano or on
on
what?
piano?
Okay.
And then at the age of 12, you get to the age where you don't want to do what your parents tell you, and I started like a rock metal band with my brother, and I became a
Sick.
drummer, like polar opposite,
Dope.
right? And we couldn't afford like drums, so how we got there is my brother built pots, pans, lids, musical stands that he would like move up with his foot to open and close a hi-hat. It was actually pretty impressive.
Sick, dude.
And so that was our first exposure. And by the time I started playing drums at 12, I already knew everything about music. So that was a head
okay.
start. And so drums felt natural to me. And then we recorded bands. We learned microphones, compressions, EQing, everything you will eventually need in my career.
Yeah.
By the time I gathered some interest to produce electronic music, I already had known everything about writing music, about recording music. So at that point, it was just, let me explore what for you would be the equivalent of cooking a cuisine that you don't typically do. You already know the
But
ground
you already know
principles.
how to break down the fish. You already know what seasoning is like.
You
Now
know
you
what
just
temperature the pan has to be,
Yeah.
right? So the ingredients are sort of the same, but the combination is slightly different. So I didn't like what I did. I didn't like the music I was making. I just wanted to get good at it. I wanted to
Yeah.
learn another thing that I didn't know, which was electronic music. I didn't go to clubs, didn't listen to electronic music. The only feedback I had were my friends who loved electronic music. and they were like, dude, this is really good. Like you should do more of it. I'm like, yeah, I can do another one. So I started making an album. And they were my feedback. My friends were like, this is amazing.
That's
I love this.
wild, dude.
And how old were you doing this?
I probably was like 17,
Okay.
18, starting to sort of actually enjoy it. More so like the process of getting good at something. And then I had interest from, and you got to imagine, I'm German. I live in my parents' basement, have no money at all. And I get these like emails from Americans, which America is like this fantasy land I've never been to, don't know anything about, and people wanting me to perform. And I was like, I don't even know if these emails are real.
Yeah,
like I've
yeah.
never dealt with anybody in America.
Because you were putting your music online, or
SoundCloud, MySpace.
yeah.
Right? Fun times. And so there's just been a lot of interest naturally from America for the type of music I was making. And I wasn't really getting a whole lot of traction in Germany where I was living. So I started traveling to America, playing a lot of shows there, 2 weeks at a time, 4 weeks at a time. At some point, I ended up going on tour with Skrillex, and going on tour with Deadmau5, then going on tour with Lady Gaga. And like things just got progressively bigger without me ever really having even time to think about what I was doing. And then everything happened extremely fast. Like EDM became big. I was sort of at the right place at the right time.
Wow.
I think making the music that was becoming really big. So that was my path into music. Now, I think the major key component in my career, and that will apply to anybody, is passion. I started making music. Obviously, my parents taught me, but what I did on the side was every single day, my dad bought us a keyboard that had like a floppy disk, and you could have up to 16 tracks. Every single day, I would write a piece of music, and then my dad would review it when he's back from home. Back from work. When he comes home, he listens to it and gives me feedback. It's like, well, see, the chord doesn't work with this bass note. But what really was the sort of the line through it all was my passion. I loved making music.
Yeah.
And that's the only thing you need. I know people who are successful had never produced a song before the age of 21. It doesn't matter when you pick up a passion. I think in society, we almost feel like you need to do a certain thing at a certain time or you're not normal.
Yeah.
I think it doesn't matter. I think at any point in time you can change, and if you develop a passion for something at whatever age, it's never too late to start.
And if you're passionate, just go for it.
Like
right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Like things today are really different than they were when I started making music. My path is probably different than somebody's path today. Maybe it is through TikTok. I certainly am not an expert on that level, so I'm not going to give advice. My advice is a little bit more broad of follow your passion. If you love something, don't even listen to me. Like listen to your heart and to yourself and to your passion and follow whatever that is, because you're likely not the only one who feels those feelings. Somebody else is going to connect with it.
And I think if it comes from you and through you, and you put it out into the world, and that's what you did. I mean, how did you even know to put it out like online? Did your friends tell you like, yo, you should put this out, or like?
I think so. My very first album, I actually never put out. My very first album sits on a computer that I don't share with anybody, and the only people who know it are my friends that I grew up with, my Germans. They know it,
That's sick.
That was my album to get good at my craft. I had released albums with my band that I was very proud of, but I wasn't quite at the level of, I don't think I'm good enough to put this out. And also maybe a bit of advice. Compare yourself to things you really love and ask yourself, is this at the level that you need to expose your potential future career or not yet? It's totally fine to practice something for a year before you ever let others hear it.
Yeah.
Right? So at some point, I made a song that I was like, I think this is good enough. And I put it on MySpace and then SoundCloud. Today, it probably would be SoundCloud still obviously is very much around, but it naturally spread. And I realized when I made something that was really good and maybe ahead of someone else, had some really core principle, some idea, it would just naturally get more plays, even though I didn't have more reach. So I was like, oh, I almost get rewarded for being better at something.
Yeah.
And then I made a song or a remix that I thought was like really had a really cool idea, and I hadn't heard anything like it before, and it like exploded and had so many more plays, which also connected me to Skrillex. It's the song that he heard, and like my career took off from there. But the first step was making something really, really great. was like, I can come up with something no one's ever tried before.
I feel like that's the quality over quantity. Right?
I mean, that's always been my approach.
Yeah.
I think either works.
For
I
sure.
hate to admit it.
For sure.
I know enough people in enough, and you probably do too, in enough fields. If you throw enough things at the wall, something will eventually stick.
Yeah.
I think there's not a lot of longevity. There's not a lot of soul, and there's not like a DNA behind it. But it might stick. It might be a one success. But I think if your passion is whatever it is, and you want to be pursuing that for a long time, you have to approach it the right way. You have to be passionate about it and love what you do. You have to be your biggest fan. You can't ask anyone else to be a bigger fan than yourself.
For sure.
You have to love your craft. You have to be okay with whatever lifestyle, might be attached to what you do. You might be okay to not have a lot of time off or a lot of friends, but, quality over quantity has always been my principle, and I've been successful in my field for probably 15 years, and I've released extremely few songs. Overall, probably less than anybody else who's been doing what I've been doing for that long that I can think of.
Wild.
And is that just because your artistic process is like when it comes to you kind of thing, or?
That's definitely my core principle,
Yeah.
right? My first album was my entire life's inspiration into one album. It's very easy for it to be good, in a sense. You've never done anything, so everything you
Yeah.
do is a first, and it really, you don't have fans to disappoint. You can be as free as you can be. Then all of a sudden, I had a lot more success than I thought I would ever have with my first album, and then how do you follow that up? So I was trying to come up with a concept, which for me was True Colors, making sure people know that my influences are way wider than the bullseye that I just hit with my first album, because I grew up with classical music, played jazz, then was a metal drummer,
Yeah.
and like I'm way more than the 128 BPM EDM guy that some people think I am. So True Colors was like, hey, before my career takes off too much, I want to make sure everybody knows I'm not going to be doing this forever.
Yeah.
I want everyone to know that I have a lot of sort of different colors. And then I was so overworked. At that point, I was in the studio like 12 hours a day, every single day. I never took days off. I was either touring or in the studio, and genuinely burned out.
Yeah.
And I didn't know what else to do. So I called my friends from Germany who came and stayed with me for 6 weeks.
Sick.
And I did nothing. I had like 2 shows, which is
Yeah.
feasible. I don't like canceling and like disappointing people. I played those shows, but other than that, I did nothing but just enjoying life and getting inspiration, which is the core of anything good. And Stay was the first song I made after my little break, which was another huge song for me. Polar opposite directionally, way slower, sort of half pop, half electronic music, sort of opened another door for me, to explore that felt really natural to me because I grew up loving pop music. But at the base of it is inspiration. I don't like creating to create. I hate going to the studio with like no inspiration or no will to come up with something amazing. I love having a concept or idea, or it could be 3 notes. It could be any thought that I want to write about, and then really going for that. Just like sort of throwing things at the wall can work, but at this point, it's just not how I love working. I love to have something burning inside of me that I need to
Yeah.
get out before
Yeah.
I do that.
That's
I
how.
feel that.
Yeah.
I feel that.
Really?
It's exactly how I am with food. Like, I can't just like come up with a new dish. Now, of course, I could, right? Just like you could write a song, you definitely could, but it's not going to be your best song. It's not going to be my
Yeah.
best dish. And for me, it's always been, and put it, and, writing a menu is almost like a set list, right? So yeah, I can arrange a set list, no problem.
Uh-huh.
I got to do a thing this Saturday night. I'm going to take this one from this album, this one from this album. Great. But to actually truly create something new, a new track, I just sort of like, for me, it's like whether I'm in the shower or I'm driving, oftentimes, it's really funny, it's while my wife is talking.
You get ideas?
Yeah. Like literally I'll be like, I'm sorry. Like, and like because I don't control when it comes.
Yes.
And then as soon as I get it, I gotta go fucking do it.
Gotta write
I
it
gotta
down,
go
gotta
do it.
do
I
it.
gotta go do it.
Well, I was going to ask you a couple more. I just had a couple questions based on what you just said. What was the shower part? You like sometimes get ideas while you're in the shower?
So I used to try to come up with dishes, right? When you're younger, you're like, oh, I'm a chef. I got to make dishes. I got to come up with dishes. And then like when actually before Scratch Bar even opened, I had a delivery service called Wolf Cuisine, and we would deliver to your house a 10-course tasting menu.
Whoa.
And what we would do, and this was my first, sort of like chef job out of like, and we started our own company, and it was, you could buy it and we would make a reservation for next Saturday. I'd show up in a chef coat to your house with a brown bag, and I worked with this company to like design like fake china and like fully plated 10-course tasting menu with instructions on like, here's this, like just pour the sauce, pop this one in the microwave for 10 seconds, like that kind of thing. And the way that we started doing it, because my background is I was a drummer, but I considered myself a lead drummer, right? So I was a big part of writing the songs, not just playing to them. And so one of the things that we started doing as we would like do these dinners is we would just go to the market and then come home and just cook the things we purchased with no idea what we were going to do with them. After we cooked everything, I got a red sauce, a green sauce, a braised pork belly, some crispy onions over here. Then I would take my palette and I would just build 10 dishes. Wow. And so from there, I then went into, when I had Scratch Bar, I gave myself this thing where it's like 25 courses every month, new 25 courses, which was forcing me. And very quickly, I was like, I'm not putting out, your first couple songs are like the best because it's coming from, but once you start to have to produce, it becomes very difficult, I think. And so I actually started being like, I started opening it up to the entire team. What do you guys want to cook next month? Anyone have any ideas? I want to learn how to cook rabbit. I want to learn how to do oxtail. Great. Rabbit's on the menu. Oxtail's on the menu. And then I would write a menu based on what they wanted to cook. Wow. And so I think eventually I had, I got to the place where just like, I just needed to, like, I worked for a chef who told me that he's like, you need to get out of the kitchen. You spend too much fucking time in the kitchen. He told me this later in my, like, I worked for him, and then we started talking later after I had a restaurant. He's like, you need to go take a fucking walk on the beach. You're going to find more inspiration and more beauty in that water than you are just fucking working away. And I listened to him, and I started kind of relaxing a little bit. And then I just, something that there it is, and it could be something that I've been thinking about for a while, but all of a sudden now it makes sense.
I was going to ask how, I never thought about this, but how does one come up with the dish? Because there has to be some sort of like inspiration between combining things that aren't usually together.
So I'm going to give you a great, because you know this dish too, so you'll understand. Hamachi with the corn pudding and the sourdough.
Yeah.
Okay. So here's the whole lineage. And when people ask me sometimes, I'll like, how do you come up with the next dish? It's like, it's kind of, it sounds pompous, but you'll understand it. It's not. It's like if you ask a great guitar player how he came up with that next lick, it's like, well, that was just the next thing to play.
Yes.
I'd already been filling with this, and I kind of did that, and then I put all of them together. So like the corn pudding is a technique I learned at a restaurant called Hatfield's when I was a sous chef when I was 21 maybe, right? And then when I had my first head chef job, I did a caprese salad with corn pudding, and I would paint the plate yellow. Then I loved hamachi. It's my favorite type of sushi, so I would always have hamachi on the menu. Then at Scratch Bar, I decided to put together a dish, which with many iterations, but the final iteration was I painted the plate yellow with the corn pudding. I put little slices of like, crudo sashimi, standing up. I took margarita sourdough, I sliced it thin, I baked it off into twirls, so there's a little bit of sourdough. And then I made a Japanese-inspired barbecue sauce with soy and wasabi and stuff, and I put it with a hand blender, so like it creates like the bubbles, and then I garnished with that. And what you had on that plate was sourdough, corn, hamachi, and soy sauce and wasabi. So then, when I decided to start a new band and open Sushi by Scratch restaurants, I was like, I got to start writing songs. And I was like, well, this pedal already works for me. This is already my guitar tone, right? There's no reason for me to start. So I'm going to take the things that already resonate with who I am as a chef, and I'm going to somewhat rearrange them into, okay, hamachi, what am I going to do? Fuck, the corn pudding's so good with it. A little bit of sour. And so I basically took that dish, and then boom, that's, 11 years in the making becomes the signature dish.
I mean, it's really no different than writing a song.
It's not.
It's all the things that you're inspired by. Input, first step, right? You've had something somewhere, you love something. It's sitting somewhere deep in your brain that you don't always have access to, and something triggers the memory of it, the feeling of it. It can be anything. And then you're like, oh, I got to do something that makes me feel that. And then you start, I'm assuming you put it together and you try it, and you're probably going to be like, well, this is lacking acidity, or this is lacking this. And then you start tweaking until you feel or taste what you need to taste.
I could see how that is like very similar. Like you'll probably start with like a base and then kind of start, it needs a little bit more acid here. It needs a little bit more salt. You just kind of add things on.
I'll be honest. So while you're cooking, yes. But I'm never going to like make a sauce and not taste it before it goes out. And I'm never going to not need to season it, right? So, but there are a lot of chefs who need to R&D for a long time and really perfect it before putting it out. And I think that maybe as a drummer being more improvisational, like I don't. If I have the idea and I can play it, we're fucking going.
Have you ever done that and it sucked?
It's not. I don't think it's ever hit the no, because I would taste it or I would. So I often don't taste the finished dish.
Oh wow!
And part of it is because I believe I will over edit myself. So what I do, it's kind of I've learned it actually relates to stand up a lot. What I'll do is I tasted the sauce, I tasted the protein, I tasted the garnish. I know those work together.
I see.
And then I put it out for the audience. And if I don't get the laughter that I'm looking for, then I will. But I like to sort of, I don't want to over edit or over analyze or over produce the thing that just came out, if that makes sense. Also, from music, you never listen to your own fucking band, right? I mean, you do listen to your band, but the point is like, I feel like when you make something, you make it and other people resonate with it because you've already birthed it.
Yeah.
It's not like your favorite, I mean, maybe, but for me, like my band was never my favorite band. I believed in it. I loved it. I loved the music, but that's not what I bumped in the car on the way home. You know?
I mean, I'm probably a little bit different in that regard where I work on my music for a really long time. You could call me the one version that does a lot of R&D. Okay. I will write a chord progression that I love, and I will need to sit with it for anywhere between a week and 5 years.
Yeah.
Because I don't always know how to finish a concept that I start. Like Out of Time, the first song of my new album, I started in 2015. I finished my album, True Colors. I bought a house. I had my own home for the first time, and there was a keyboard, and I wrote that right there and then. But it was way too complex, classical, theatrical for anything I had done in my career. So I was like, I love it. One day, an opportunity will rise where this will be in the right context.
Yeah.
That took about 10 years when I made an entire album of that, my autobiography, musically speaking. And it made perfect sense and it felt natural. But I spent a long time on my music, and I do listen to it in everywhere. On my phone, I leave it in the bathroom. I go to the room next door. How does that sound?
Yeah.
Sometimes I will hear more on a phone than I hear in the studio with excessively expensive speakers. It gives you a little bit of the real life example of like people kind of bump your music anywhere. But once it's out, I don't listen to it once it's out because I've already listened to it for years.
Yes, and I think that's kind of what I'm saying
Right.
is like, I don't know. It's just, and maybe it's because my background is like I played in punk bands. It's not supposed to sound fucking perfect.
Yeah,
You know
that's
what I mean?
definitely.
It's supposed to be, just like it's raw.
Yeah.
It's about the passion, the energy. And yeah, that's how I've always, sort of just come up with dishes.
I mean, there's a lot of parallels
Yeah.
Yeah.
between writing a dish and writing a song and producing it and releasing it. And some of your best works sometimes don't connect.
How do you start a song? Is it just you start with a basic bass or something, like just like a?
So there's multiple ways a song can sort of happen. One is I just play on the piano for fun without even trying to write a song, and I come up with something amazing. When I'm in the studio, typically everything's recording always.
Okay.
So
Just in case.
Just in case.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like if I'm feeling like I have creative juices, I just hit record. It records the notes and the audio. The audio
Okay.
rarely needs to be used, but the notes, like sort of, what did I just play?
Mm-hmm.
Because I don't know how to explain it to somebody who doesn't play music, but to me, music is a language.
Okay.
And you can either, if you really speak the language, you have the ability to communicate with others. You can get in a room with other artists, musicians, and you can, without speaking any languages, without ever saying a word, somebody's like, we got the tempo, that's number one.
Yeah.
Then somebody starts with a note, and then everybody's like, oh, he's playing A minor. Okay, we're going to go A.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And then you can communicate. So that's the level of musicianship I feel like one needs to be able to really speak the language.
Okay.
And then you speak. You kind of like, no different than writing, at the end of the day, writing down like a few sentences about your day, and like keeping a diary. You just play, and when you look somewhere and you just look through it, and you're kind of like zoned out. I'm oftentimes completely zoned out. Sometimes I don't even look at the piano, and I'm just kind of like playing.
feeling.
My brain is working, and I feel something. And I'm like, oh, what the hell did I just play? That was awesome. It's literally comes like that. I don't even think about it. It's just
Wow.
my fingers move wherever my brain tells them to move, while my mind is sort of just zoned out. And then I like it, and then I can either go back, if I still remember what I just played, I'll kind of backwards engineer it, or I just listen to the recording, and I'm like, ooh, this could be a core to a new song.
Yeah.
And then I write the chords, I record a quick demo, send it to my manager, who's my demo keeper. He's got like 50 songs that I've never released that are all in piano form.
Oh,
So
sick.
those are most of my compositions are just piano demos that I can take into any direction. Some are very classical, and I've written a really beautiful piece that I was like, I don't know what to do with it for my career. But then National Geographic came to me for a project for this like beautiful documentary about Earth. And I was like, well, I wrote something that would be sort of in that vein, and I can just go through my demos and pick what makes sense and write something from there. The other way I make songs, and I love doing that, is when, there's writing camps where people come together, they write music, and then they sort of ask people to produce it. And so what my manager will do is he will just give me the vocal only. Oftentimes they write a vocal and a guitar and drums, and I never want to know what they were thinking. I just ask for the vocal, so I'm not sort of because sometimes you can come up with something way better if you don't overthink it.
Yeah.
So they spent a lot of time working or whatever. I just want the vocal, and I do the same thing. I just play along the vocal. I don't even know what key it is in, or if I'm in the parallel key and the correct key. And sometimes, for example, my song Beautiful Now was born exactly this way. My manager played me the vocal. I had no idea what the original ever was intended to be. They were looking for somebody to produce a song for this vocal, and my manager just plays me the vocal, and I write something for it, and then I make the whole song, and then I play it for the guys who wrote the vocal, and they're like, oh, wow, this is cool. And in my mind, it's like, I don't know what other variation there could be. This obviously makes the most sense.
Yeah, like this is the
Did you ever
one.
listen back to the original?
I think I did once, and I was like, wow, this is so weird. This doesn't make any sense to me, but it's just like, this is where your character shines through as a
Yeah.
producer.
Yeah.
I would say those are the two main ways to make a song. And the third way is like, oftentimes people ask me to collaborate on music, and they have an idea and they bring it to me as like, is that something you would want to work on? And if it strikes a chord, if I think I could do something that would make it better, I'm down. Sometimes people just want my name on a song, and then I feel like, well, there's really nothing for me to contribute. Like, you already have the song. You don't need
That's
me for
already
this.
done. Yeah.
So there's many ways it can happen. Or I really want to work with an artist. I've always wanted to work with John Mayer, for example. I love John Mayer. Always wanted to work with him. We've known each other for probably 10 years. Met in the studio, tried to work on a song. I had one, but he felt like he couldn't. Same thing. It was too deep, too far along the way. He couldn't contribute enough. And I love that. I love when an artist is honest enough
Yeah.
to be able to say no.
Yeah, yeah.
And so we remained friends for a decade before he heard an idea of mine of a song that I didn't know how to finish. And I was about to toss away because I just couldn't finish it, working in it for years. And I just feel like, yeah, I can finish a song, but it doesn't make me feel enough to release it.
It's like
and he
not
had an
there yet.
amazing idea, and it basically took a whole 180, and we made a song together, and I love it.
That's
so
so
there's
dope, dude.
these are kind of the ways a song can be created.
That's amazing.
That's so dope.
And I wonder, like, I was just thinking about it because, like, how you were saying that, like, you have to perfect it and you have to, like, listen to it from other rooms. And then I was thinking, like, well, fuck, why don't I do that? Like, literally, that's where my brain went. I'm like, well, you fucking, everything you do is so fucking perfect. How? And then I went, well, wait a second, it's a different medium. Mine, from the pan, it does not exist anymore in about 4.5 minutes, right? So it doesn't matter how it sounds from the other room or this or
What
that.
would be your equivalent of from the other room?
How it smells.
how
from
it
the
smells,
other-
maybe? I don't know.
You know what I mean?
But like,
Interesting.
I guess where that stuff comes from, that how I would relate that is like, so we were talking about the actual how I design a dish, but we didn't talk about how I design the experience.
Yeah.
So I think the experience is how I because I mean I guess I do kind of throw restaurants together, but I don't.
Yeah, a lot.
But a lot of ideas and experience and just like who I am and Margarita is goes into like, what does it feel like when you're in this room versus this room? How long do you stay in here? What is the mood feel like? So I could see kind of how that relates in that way a little bit. Because
Do
for
you
me,
like that?
Say again?
That part of it? Do you enjoy that, or is that
I'm
like
at this point in my career, I am more excited about curating an experience than I am about deciding whether or not there should be lemon or lime as the acid.
That's awesome. I love to hear that.
And so we're, at all the restaurants, we try to empower the team to be like, every time we open a new sushi, it starts out with my menu. And that menu is typically the greatest hits as of today, right? So usually every time we open a new restaurant, I'll add 1 or 2 new things, but otherwise it's everything that's just been like the best. What's the best we could possibly do? Because we're going in a new city and we got to fucking kill them, right? Once the team conquers that menu and it's perfect, they have the ability to add or to replace up to 10 of those dishes of the 16.
That's
But it's it's within a bit of a sandbox. You need to be able to relate to you as a chef, right?
Yep.
It can't be. I bet some chefs are like, great, I'm just going to do soy sauce wasabi, soy sauce, and like that's not this restaurant.
so they do run it by you.
Yes. Well, at this point, it goes from them to one of the other chefs to one of the other chefs to, and then at this point, sometimes it comes by me, but not usually anymore.
So I don't know much about your world in that regard, but so let's just say the head chef per location
Yes.
has a lot of influence. Like you have to be really careful with who you trust.
But for forever it went straight to me. But now with as much as I have on my plate, it now goes to Chef Nate. And Nate he's now the director of culinary operations. So it goes to Chef Nate. Now Nate has been with me for 6 years, maybe
Super
something
long.
like that. And like we've grown together and our palates together. So now he can, like, we already know what works, what doesn't. So he has to approve it. And I've always had this thing where it's like, typically when someone would bring me a dish, it's almost never the very first try gonna make it. And I would always say like, well, we have to figure out how to scratchify it. It's a great fucking dish, but why is this on our menu? It could be on the menu at Animal. It could be on the menu at Providence. Why is it on our menu? How do we make this our dish? Because by all accounts, it's a good dish. It's great, but what makes it us? So it's those, let's use this old Rickenbacker and use this and use this pedal because that's what we sound like in this band. We can still play the same song, but it needs to sound like us. You know what I mean? And so
That makes a lot of
after
sense.
time, every time you bring me a new song, I have less and less to contribute to it until you bring me a song where I go, motherfucker, that's amazing.
It's a
And then you're
masterpiece.
free. now you can add new dishes.
Yeah.
And that would been kind of the way we've done it.
I mean, I love a lot of the things around it, around what actually makes people like come to us. I get more and more passionate about that as well. That's why I was curious how you feel, because the experience around, in my case, that would be either a show or an album. Like, the music I play on stage is like maybe only half as important as the experience from walking through the door to how you feel when you leave, to the room size, to the amount of haze in a room, to exactly the lighting fixture, the programming. We developed this amazing system, like almost hacked together multiple softwares for me to be able to sort of program lighting from my computer.
Wild.
And I can see it in real time on a screen that is a replica of what my stage would look like, or at least a generic stage that can be applicable to a lot of festivals that I play. So I can make a song, make an edit, and in real time make the lights at the same time. So when I play that song, it will also play the lights besides the music.
Oh, sick.
That is, in my experience, sure, the headliners, the clarities of the world, your signature dishes, people want them.
Yeah.
And that's fair. And I want them, and I want them to enjoy them. So I will always play the hits.
Yeah.
The in between those hits is where I feel like there's a little bit of room to get creative and do something different. And when you come to my show and you hear a song that every DJ plays, you're gonna like it better at my show than most shows. I'm confident in saying that.
That's right.
Because we think about, how do you feel? What are the lights? Not that others don't think about it. I just think I'm really obsessed with it. And when you're obsessed with something, it usually ends up being really good.
Yeah.
Because you really care. You really want it to feel different and special.
You put the time and the passion into
Absolutely.
it. And you're gonna
Most
make
people
sure it's
aren't
gonna
willing to spend the amount of time that my team spends every single day just getting creative. Like, sometimes they come to me and they had an idea for a look for a song that I haven't been playing for years. I'm like, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's talk about this. Let's see what we can do there.
I don't know if I ever told you, but like the first time, so I saw you before we ever met at the Sports Illustrated party, F1, like maybe 3 or 4 years ago in Austin.
Oh, yeah.
In like that kind of warehouse. It was like an old printing
Yeah,
factory.
yeah.
And I was into punk, hardcore, I never cared about DJs. I never found it interesting. And I was at that thing because one of the guys, I don't remember, some business thing, I went. And I remember being incredibly captivated by your set.
Wow.
And you had the giant fucking screen behind you and shit going on. And I remember going home that night and telling Margarita, I'm like, I think I get it. Like, I've never got it before because I was never like a club kid,
Yeah.
I was going, if I was going to a club, I was doing front flips off the stage. I was never going to that. And so I went to her and I was like, I got it. I was like, you have to see this, dude. It's like the coolest, like the things are happening. And so like
That's awesome.
What's your, I mean, it worked because you
That's
got someone like me to actually, who like had no interest, to be like, that's pretty fucking cool.
Yeah.
Like I can and I remember that, like, I watched the entire set. And then I remember the guy who was like after you or whatever, and he was just up there doing this, and I'm like, not interested.
Wow. Thank you for sharing that. I actually had no idea.
Did I never told you that?
No, you never told me that.
Well, there
I
you
thought
go.
the first time we met was the first time you saw my show. That's awesome, man.
Yeah.
I really appreciate that. And that kind of goes back to the experience.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's so important.
I feel like I'm not a big hip hop guy. I could enjoy it. Like, every time I saw Kendrick, I really liked it. I felt like there was a lot of thought that went behind the special effects and everything that I saw whenever I saw him perform. I can be into anything as long as you convince me that, like, there's a real thought behind something. I love the idea that, like, I don't like randomness. I don't like when I hear a song and I'm like, it's just like nobody thought about anything and some air and I was like, yeah, this should be released. I hate that. I want to know that somebody spent the time and thought about what they're doing. That's why with like AI music, it can be on paper be really good and soon probably way better than I ever will be. But what I enjoy the most about any form of art is the thought, what you were feeling when you've been wanting to create something that will make somebody else feel something. And that's where AI to me sort of fails, is it will never have the human feeling. It
Doesn't have that heart.
Be really good at pretending, certainly, but like somebody's pain or somebody's passion or inspiration, that makes you create something in whatever field you're in, and your wish for somebody else to share that feeling, because all we do is share feelings.
Yeah.
I feel something. How do I get you to feel that? Well, I have to then, my brain has to translate into whatever medium I'm doing, music. And then I have to imagine, are you going to feel the same way I feel when I make that? Sometimes you need to build a bridge for somebody who's not a musician because they don't speak your language. So you can simplify things and add a couple sevenths and nines and cool notes and cool chords in places that are behind like a 4-on-the-floor beat where you know they will be enjoying this, and this will be like the spice. It will be a dish they've had, but not with that spice.
Yeah.
So they will enjoy it because they like the dish, but they're going to go home and be like, I've never tasted it like this before.
That's why I have salmon on the menu.
Salmon?
That's literally the reason I have salmon on the menu.
Because everyone likes it? Or?
Well, because I could write a menu of 16 fish you've never heard of and you've never tried before. But that to me isn't as impressive as giving you things you have had before, but never this fucking good. And so, of course, I'm not going to give you 16 salmons. It's a little too dull.
Sure.
But in the midst of the ebb and the flow of the sort of concept album, it's like, boom, here's that thing you know this thing. Then you take you bite and you go, holy fuck, it melts in my mouth. It has these flavors I've never had before. And oftentimes that's in people's it's like one of the top dishes is like the salmon.
And it's a simple one, right? Compared to many others that are more experimental?
Simple-ish.
What was the salmon dish?
So,
I've obviously had it many times.
Yeah, I brush it with olive oil.
Yep.
And then it gets a little bit of the matcha green tea salt. And then with a blowtorch, don't cook it, just like whip it with the heat just to toast the matcha and take the chill off the fish. And then a touch of soy, little lemon, little sea salt, and the pickled wasabi stem, which in LA, the salmon would oftentimes get the kazami wasabi, the pickled wasabi stem. That's like one of the things of like LA sushi or Valley sushi. So I would do the homage to Valley sushi. So you've had salmon, you've had it with soy sauce, you've had it with that type of wasabi, but you haven't had it just gently warm with toasted matcha just to make your mouth water a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, it's all in the detail, right? Like, we all have the same 12 notes in music.
Yeah.
It's really about how you put them together and how that makes you feel. I mean, I've told you this many times before, but what really impresses me with Scratch is that I feel like each piece has like a little bit of a journey. And I don't know what that has to do with, but sometimes I feel like I taste the flavor and I like it or I don't. And sometimes I taste the flavor and I'm like, oh, wait, whoa, there's something else. And then there's like a third layer to it. And like you almost go through a mini movie. Really, it's like almost I see everything for like 20 seconds. And I find that so impressive, every single piece.
Yeah, I don't know.
It almost feels like it has a like 3 stages per dish.
Yeah.
Well, it is about layering. I think layering is important. I also approach food like I approach music. So I think of EQ, right? You cannot listen to rap, EDM, and punk with the same EQ.
Right.
You can. It won't be very good, right? And so for me, like the treble is the salt, the bass is the fat, and the mids is the acid. So I just, for each one, I actually think about how do I tune this perfectly. And then the other thing is like, I wanted to make sushi, but I had no desire to just make California rolls or just make spicy tuna rolls. I wanted to add to the conversation. I wanted to what can I bring to this cuisine I love? Not try to change the cuisine, but like, the actual tradition of sushi is to cook from not only your heart but from the area that you're from. And so I'm not from Japan. I'm from the Valley. So we're going to use the ingredients and sensibilities of the Valley, which got me a lot of flack until that people started to realize that, I'm a white kid making sushi in the Valley. Yeah, I got a ton of flack.
That's
for a long time.
Jealousy.
Well,
right?
Not so much. I mean, then Michelin gives us a star and nobody talks shit anymore.
That's how that's the Grammy.
Yeah, exactly.
That solidifies people who aren't sure how to feel about something.
But yeah, so for me it was like I love tasting menus because I love how a tasting menu is like a concept album. because I've never been a guy who likes playlists. I listen to albums.
I mean,
I
100%.
You have to start on the first song, and because my favorite albums have outros into intros, and it's one piece of work.
Yeah.
And so that's how I've always designed my tasting menus. This is as a piece of work, like an album. And so as I'm working on, developing the idea for sushi, it's like, well, if I just give you soy sauce and wasabi 16 times, that's just the same.
Yeah.
That's just that for 45 minutes. So okay, I need to create. You got to open with your bang, and then you need to have the big choir on your outro, and and so I just kind of did that with my, with everything I did in tasting menus, which is protein with minor things to make the protein amazing. I just did it on top of rice.
I mean, you're describing a perfect album, a perfect set list, a perfect show. I feel the exact same way. I always start with a big one. Like I've tried every variation of an intro, and sometimes like a little bit of like, oh, let me give you something you've never had before. It doesn't really do it. You got to start with a bang, at least in my mind. You have to start big,
hit 'em
and then you
hard.
can afford to take a couple my recipes always start with a bang. The second song, ideally, is something everyone knows.
Yeah.
And then that buys me a little bit of time to experiment and show them something new until my I have these arches always, and then sort of sprinkle in between the songs that I know people want to hear and connect them with something more unique in between. But yeah, I mean, I'm assuming making a perfect show set list is not too dissimilar from making a perfect tasting menu. It has to have flow, and it has to have some moments that are maybe an album with 11 hits or radio songs is so boring.
Yeah.
It's not a good album. It's
Yeah.
just a collection of hits.
Yeah.
A good album takes you down to bring you back up.
Different ways.
You described my album, by the way. Every song
So
connects and it
sick.
ends with the choir. The last song it's literally what I did. But the other reason why it took me 9.5 years to make my next album was because I wasn't feeling really that inspired to be able to write that entire thing. Can you make a dish? Yeah, you probably can always make a dish.
Yeah.
Is it going to be your best one? Probably not. Are you going to like it? Sure. But creating a whole experience, you need to actually be inspired enough to do that. Otherwise, I don't want to do it. And playlists have gotten really good.
Yeah.
So now, for me to make an album, instead of an intelligent playlist, I need to give you a real reason to grab 40 minutes of your life to spend front to back. So that for me was, well, I haven't experienced enough to feel that inspiration until the moment that I did. And then I made an album that I think is better than a playlist ever will be, because it was a cohesive sort of situation that a playlist will never be. And
Dude,
then I'm ready
hell
for an
yes.
album. And if the next one takes me 20 years, so be it. I have
Yeah.
so many other passions I want to sort of explore, because I have always followed my inspiration. Classical music was awesome at some point. It was a challenge to prove my parents wrong, that I could play pieces that are too wide for my hands and whatever, to doing the opposite of what my parents wanted with rock and metal.
Yeah.
I've always followed whatever my inspiration was, and oftentimes it's kind of challenging it's all in your head. You're like, well, now I got successful with one thing and now I'm turning my back to it. But I still think as an artist, you need to try to sort of not look at what's trending on TikTok.
Yeah.
And you got to see what's trending inside your heart and do that. That's what's going to make the music the most relatable, because it's coming from the heart.
Just let
and I
that
think you're not
guide
the
you.
only one.
Let
It
that
feels that
guide
way.
you, right?
Always let your genuine inspiration, the things that make you feel something, that make you wake up at night and wanting to work on something, those are the things that you want to work on. And it sometimes is depressing, because sometimes that's not what people want. Some of my favorite albums, I remember listening to them and being like, that sucks. That's not what I expected from my favorite band. And then I do trust the band, though. I love the band, so I'm going to keep listening. And now they're some of my favorite albums ever.
I was going to say, have you noticed that they're just a little bit ahead of you?
That,
You know
that
what I mean?
honestly
That's what
oftentimes
it
is the case.
Yeah.
They spend a lot of time, likely, working on things that you just gave 3 minutes.
Yeah.
Some things take time to develop, and some things take time to understand. So I just think, musically speaking, we live in a time where I grew up buying an album, with the few bucks that I had, and I'm like, I'm not gonna throw it away if I didn't like it.
Yeah.
I'm gonna listen to it a few more times to make sure there's not maybe something I can find in it.
Yeah.
Right. And now that you have everything at all times, well, you don't have a reason to give it another chance.
Yeah.
And so sometimes I make music, and I sort of expect it to be something that will be really loved way later, because it's not coming out in the climate that people want that. But I was feeling that when I was
Yeah.
making it. So someday
Yeah.
people will feel the right things to enjoy that.
I like that. You just like kind of wait on it until
Yeah,
it's
I mean,
like
I think
the
good
right
music is
time.
timeless. I've always
Yeah.
craved to create things that don't have an expiration date. I've done songs before, and sometimes I make them for others that are sort of like, it's almost like somebody books you for a private event and they want exactly that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll do that.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah, yeah.
fine. But I don't
Not
expect
putting it on
that-
my menu, but I'll make it for you.
Exactly. If you want that for you, that's totally fine. But it's not something that I feel like, I hate when I have a feeling that a song has an expiration date. That usually is because there's some weird trend that typically probably doesn't even have a reason to be there. You know how the internet works. It's
Yeah.
a bunch of randomness thrown together that becomes a trend for no
That's
reason.
randomly
And then
viral.
that's what everybody wants.
Yeah.
Sometimes I look at and I don't really look much at what's popular, but sometimes it shows up on my feed. Some of the most popular songs on TikTok are like 20 years old, 6 years old.
Yeah.
The song from the 60s.
Yeah.
It's like whatever somebody randomly went viral with on a video is now popular, and that's like, for lack of a better word, the meta for music.
Yeah.
That's just not how art should ever be created.
You said you grew up like not really in the club scene or anything like that, or even really listening to the type of like EDM music and stuff, right?
Yeah.
And then you just started to make it for your friends. Did you just kind of like eventually grow into it? And
Yeah,
it became
so
something for
there
you?
were a couple like corner pieces to that. I never went to clubs because I was in a metal band, and that was considered not cool. You know, at that
That's
age.
what I'm saying.
So it's like I don't want my people to know I went to a club. That's literally like
Yeah.
when you're a kid, that's kind of how it felt.
Yeah.
And when I started making the music, I kind of opened the palette for that. I was more intrigued by it, and then I remember hearing a song called Infinity, Claus remix. I don't know when that was, 2008, I'm guessing. Maybe it's older than that. I'm not sure. But that's the first time I remember being like, what's that song? What is that one? That one grabbed my attention. And then there was David Guetta.
Okay.
David Guetta, I grew up in Germany, side note, so our music was a little bit different. David Guetta was like, I could get into it, and it was mostly electronic.
Yeah.
There's something that I liked about it. Maybe part of me didn't want to admit it to myself because I was in a band and it didn't feel cool. And at some point, I was in a studio hired as a studio musician to record drums for another band.
Okay.
And so I was there recording drums, and there was a Justice album, Cross. Somebody brought it. It was on the table, and I'm like, what's that? And somebody's like, oh, you got to listen to this. This is incredible. And I had to get groceries, so I'm like, great. I'll check it out. I listened to it, and it just made me want to understand how music can sound so good. And the bass
Yeah.
was so fat, and like the compression to this day is a miracle to me. The whole thing sounds so amazing. It's musical. It rocks. It's got electronic elements. The songs connect. There's a story. There's a DNA. And so that really made me want to understand how to be good at it. And so that really triggered me to want to learn.
Yeah.
It wasn't that I wanted to release it. I definitely never wanted to be DJ. Didn't even know how. Like that was just, I was a drummer and a pianist, but I wanted to learn, and I love learning things. I love learning anything. I love passions just for anybody. Anybody who comes to me is like, I love, I don't know, creating the second page in a book. I'm like, oh, cool. I never thought about the second page in the book. Like, how's it supposed to make you feel? Like anything is amazing as long as it's your passion. So
Yeah.
I'm passionate about learning things, and to me it was, I don't like it, but that doesn't mean I don't like making it or
Yeah.
doing it
Yeah.
or learning. There's always something new to learn. And I was kind of responsible for the electronic elements in my band. I was kind of programming those already.
Okay.
And so there was a bit of a,
Just with pads or?
no. I was just literally like in Cubase programming synths. Like
Okay.
we were into a lot of bands, like let's just say Muse, that have like synths
Yeah.
and ARPs going on. So like, how are they made? You know,
Yeah.
there's this band called Sky Eats Airplanes. Sky Eats Airplane. I love them, and they had a bunch of instruments that I learned that they used Reason. So I downloaded Reason. I'm like, okay. Well, I'm gonna have to learn Reason. So a lot of it was just like going past or going through learning how to be good at something. And by doing it, of course, I mean, electronic music has something special. There's something amazing about it. And
For sure.
the more I make it, the more I'm like, I think I get what people love about it. I just never, like you said, it never clicked for me. And so slowly I'm like actually getting into it. And then I started eventually posting them online. And I remember like having dinner with my buddies. I had like 210 followers. And I posted a song. And I had one more in my back pocket. And I was like, when I reach 250 fans, I'm going to post it. And like, I'm looking at dinner. It's like, oh, one more. Guys, I got like 3 more. And so at some point I was like, oh, I got my 250. Here you go.
Yeah.
Friends, like here's another song. And like it exploded so fast from there. But yeah, I mean, it's like, I still can't believe I'm here. Honestly.
Did your parents teach you theory? Did you ever learn theory?
They taught me classical music, which inherently sort of taught me the theory behind it. Like the more, it's like practice.
Yeah.
You play all these classical pieces and you see the correlations there and you see when something doesn't make sense. My dad probably did kind of teach me the most theory when we would do band songs and I would record music on my keyboard and he would come home and be like, this bass doesn't really go along with that chord. It wasn't like I learned it on paper, but more so by just doing it and getting better at it.
That's awesome. How so from the time that you put your first thing on MySpace or whatever, how long until like was Skrillex the first one to like reach out to you and bring like how long did it go from like hey, I'm putting this out there to the world to like holy shit, this is actually a thing?
So to backtrack a little bit, this is at a time when I had absolutely no money, nothing. And I'm getting into electronic music and I'm sort of doing the research, going through the top 10 at Beatport. And I'm going through it and it's like, in my opinion, respectfully, it sucks. Like, how is this the top 10? This is the best electronic music has to offer. So my brain goes to, I can do way better. I have a lot more musical knowledge that these guys don't seem to have. Like, yeah, I don't know how to make them sound really good yet, but I have a whole nother layer that they don't have. So I started looking through remix competitions. And there were these remix contests where you could win like $500. So to me, that's a lot of money. So I'm like, I'm just going to go and win that remix contest.
Yeah.
And I go and I'm going to make something.
So I did with Food Network. I'm just going to go win that. I need money.
That was my thinking. Like a little cocky at the age of 18 or 19. But I was like, I have this knowledge that I see these guys don't have. And so I made this remix of a song called The Witch Doctor, which was super musical and like playful. And like we were really into Meshuggah and like the math side of music. And I implemented bits of that into my electronic remix. And it ended up winning. I got my money. I'm like, okay, I could do this more often. That was the first time some small indie labels reached out and like, hey, do you have any music you want to release? So that was the first plateau.
Yeah.
And then I had this idea of making a song. It's this remix I made by a song called This Time, I believe. This is a long time ago. And my thought was, and I had never heard it before, what if I make a song that just has so many sounds, different sounds, and I build like a melody out of those. So instead of like having a synth and a bass and a guitar and a drum kit, you like the melody, each note is a different sound. Like it's going to take me some time, but I feel like that would be really cool, almost like just an explosion of sounds. So I've been working on this remix and I really love where it's going. It's something really new. And I wake up, I'm on my laptop, and I see this guy. Everybody posts this guy. This was Skrillex or Sonny Moore back then.
Yeah.
And I listened to his music, and I was like, "Fuck,
That's what you're about to do.
that's literally what I wanted to do." It's like significantly more complicated and enhanced version of the kind of music others were making. It's like, fuck, like this is kind of what I wanted to do. So what I did is I just sent him a MySpace message. I was like, "Hey, dude, just checked out your music. It's incredible. I had a really similar idea, and I can tell you're really good at what you're doing. You're going to really like what I'm making." Super cocky. Obviously never thought anyone would read it. And I sent that message with the link to this remix. And I get a reply like right away. And I later found out he went on his MySpace and I was the last message. It was all the way at the very top, and he clicked on it and he heard it and he was like, "Dude, this is so sick. Can you send me the full song? I have a show in LA tonight. I want to play it."
Damn.
Like,
Really?
this is crazy. Like, he read it and replied to it. And so I sent him the remix and he played it out, and
Wow.
then he reached out and was like, dude, you gotta remix one of my songs. I'm like, anything. So I remixed one of his songs, and he's like, dude, this is so good, and he puts it on his MySpace, and his MySpace was like the most poppin' thing at the time.
Yeah.
So all of a sudden I go from like a few hundred plays to like 30,000 plays a day or whatever that was back then. So massive exposure.
Because he does like I guess they weren't collab posts, but whatever, like people knew that
Anybody
you were a
would
part
go
of.
on his website on MySpace, it would just autoplay. So
Okay.
But it had your name on it. So
it
they
had my
knew-
name on it.
Okay, so they knew
it
how
was
to
like a
find
Zedd
you.
remix.
Wow.
So I was like, that's crazy. He put that on his MySpace page. That's
Wild,
all there
dude.
was back then, really.
Yeah.
And so I had a bunch of interest all of a sudden. And then he was like, dude, you gotta meet with my manager. Like, he's got to manage you. And so I flew to London and met with them with my last like $50 on Ryanair. And and I met with them, and I've been with my manager ever since.
Wow. The
Damn.
dude who just moved to Austin?
So this is my second manager.
Got it,
So we added a second person,
Ah.
Dave Renee, who was at Interscope, who's incredible, and like my musical sort of second brain. I still work with him as well. So I've been with my team ever since before my career really took off. But it was this like, that's how I got there. It was this randomness, a random message, a random idea, but kind of like to pull back to what we started with. It wasn't like, let me just fuck around and see if I can do something cool. I was like, hold on, I've never heard anyone like do this. Why don't I
Yeah.
try that? And it came from a concept that developed into something real, and that connected with people.
And I think what's very obvious or blatantly obvious to me is that anybody can, get lucky once. Anybody can. I mean, not anybody. It takes something to write a song to get an artist who you respect's attention, but to then parlay that into a multi-decade career is, I mean, that I think speaks to like the amount of like foundation that you already had. That wasn't just a one-off thing.
Yeah, I mean, I still will contribute a lot of it to luck. I think with talent, which I like, my parents gifted me
Yeah.
great genetics.
Well, you had nature and nurture, it sounds like.
You need a little bit of both.
Yeah.
And I think the more work and passion and genuine love you put into something, the better your odds are, the less luck you need. There are people who are so good and so talented and not famous. I always I try to encourage up and coming artists as much as I can. I support them as much as I can. I play their music out as much as I can. And I'm like, you will be successful. It might not be tomorrow. It might be in 27 years. I don't
Yeah.
know when, but you have something in it. You just have to stick with it. Because if you think about it, from the moment I started making music, it wasn't almost 20 years later
Yeah.
that I was successful. It's
Yeah,
just
yeah.
that nobody thinks about those 20 years because
Yeah.
it was like a band and multiple albums.
Every overnight success is 10 plus years in the
It
making.
usually
Yeah.
is. And they usually come from genuine passion and love. And like you said, a lot of people do get lucky.
Yeah.
There's a
and
lot
they
of
fizzle out real fast.
Exactly. They don't really last because they're a sand castle. They look nice, but there's no foundation.
Yeah.
But if you build your beautiful home with an amazing foundation on an amazing plot of land, you can turn it into anything you want. And changing the color is easy, but the foundation is real.
Yeah.
And I think that's like my advice to up and coming artists is like, who are you?
Yeah.
What makes you you? Like, that's the only thing you have that nobody else has, is your combination of DNA. So what makes you? What is it that you love? And that's what you should focus on. And like, I just think it's sad when people start their day by checking what the trends are and copying that. Like, who are you then? Are you like just an algorithm?
Yeah. No, I think you nailed it right there. It's all about passion. It's about hard work. It's about
Absolutely.
what you put into it, putting your heart into it, being you. And yes, there is like a little bit of luck because,
For
you know,
sure.
Skrillex opened up that MySpace message at that right time
Yeah.
that you sent right there, you know. And it all the stars kind of aligned. But you built such a strong foundation that you've created this huge career out of it, you know, and you're still going strong. And
Thank
it's
you very-
all because of the
thank you for
passion
saying
and the
that.
hard work, you know.
Yeah, and an amazing team. Also, I'm sure it applies to all of us. But what's so critical is to surround yourself with people who share your passion and your love. My management, since 2009, 2010, I've never had a contract with them, ever. and I don't think there's ever a need. We
Yeah.
had a deal, and at some point it felt, well, we have this new guy, Dave, and he's doing a lot, and we never thought we'd have another person. Let's talk about like changing the numbers. Yeah, that's true. That makes sense. He's working a lot. Change the numbers, done, good to go.
Yeah.
If my managers ever don't want to work with me because I'm an asshole or something, why would I want to tie them down and like, no, you have to work for me? No, it comes from love. As long as we love each other, which we probably will for the rest of our lives, we will work together, go through thick and thin, which we've had many paths through it, and we will find a way.
Yeah. Where's the thin in your story? It sounds like
Oh my God, I've had so many, like I've had years where I would want to work with artists and the reply was like, that's just not really in right now. Like, I'm like, damn, that's crazy. Like I never think about myself as like
In or
being
out.
in or out.
Yeah.
Like I think about my life as my career, my whole being. It's like in or out. Like how could I be a different person now than I was 2 years ago? That doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah.
And so then I would have, a down cycle. And this has happened so many times in my career. And then I release a song that ends up being a hit. And all of a sudden that same artist wants to work with me. And it's like, well, I feel like you're not real. You know what I mean?
Hey, that's a little
so
bit
that
funny.
really is a little off-putting. But the real ones, I will say one thing that I am seeing in this industry, the real deal, the people who are wildly successful on top of their game, they are oftentimes incredibly humble and incredibly hardworking. That you wouldn't believe. And the ones that kind of got lucky, that you look at and you're like, I know you're super successful, I don't know if I think you should be. Those oftentimes are really cocky. They're really like ungrateful. They're really hard to work with. It's really like, I don't know, maybe Taylor Swift is the best example. She is so hardworking. Whether you like her music or not, that's obviously everybody's choice. But from what I know, she's really kind, good to people, and really hardworking. And she's probably the most successful star we have. Muse, a band that's been around for decades, was so amazing and refreshing to work with. Matthew was in the studio every morning at like 9 a.m. We would talk about the changes that we wanted for the song. He goes in and records it, sends them to me. I listen to it, send him back a piano melody. I'm like, I feel like this we could do better. Amazing. 9 a.m. tomorrow morning, I'm back in the studio. I'm going to record a new version.
Sick.
And the band in Europe recorded their parts perfectly labeled, super
So
clean.
you're working together across the.
Yeah, they
Wow.
were in Europe while we were in LA, and we wanted the whole band on the record because I wanted it to feel like I'm such a big Muse fan. It was like I would have worked with Bellamy alone, but working with the whole band is like, it's like putting my heart on a plate and like giving it back to me. It's like I wouldn't be here without them, and I didn't know what to expect, but they were so good. They recorded when they said they were going to record. Everything was like labeled, cleanly cut, made easy for me to work with. You wouldn't get that from people that, aren't where they are. So sometimes the people that make it really far and really long, sometimes they work really hard for that.
Well, aren't they a perfect example of like an overnight success on your on album number 20 something? Like
Muse?
Yeah, didn't they have like a ridiculous amount of albums?
They do, and they have a ridiculous amount of amazing albums.
Yeah.
Too. Like I mean, they still go hard, and they still reinvent themselves. They're still the same three people after all these years. I mean, that's rare.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I'm super grateful. I'm genuinely, I can't say it enough, but I am where I am because, of course, there's a level of talent and hard work that goes into it. But the people that surround me, when I feel down, that like bring me back up, that boost my confidence, that sort of say the right things to make me feel like I'm capable of doing these things. Like I would never be able to do it alone. You got to surround yourself with people that, share your passion and your love, and it can bring you pretty far.
Is that what kind of keeps you going too? It's just the passion and
Yeah, I mean,
the
I
crew?
sometimes I don't feel inspired. Sometimes I question myself. Sometimes I wonder if I still have like a purpose. And the way I think about this is, let's take Vegas. Vegas is a whole separate beast for DJs. There's very few slots that are occupied by very few people. It used to be way more diverse. Now it's like few DJs have almost all the dates. I'm assuming as most things in most industries, it's like, well, the things that work, we're just going to do that more. And the things that are experimental, we're just going to not even try. So I'm incredibly lucky to have one of those few slots of like I can almost play anytime I want. And sometimes I doubt myself. And like I do wonder, do I even like deserve to still have that slot? Or when is it time to give somebody else the chance to do something that maybe, you know, they're more passionate or better or whatever. I always doubt myself. I've never not doubted myself, whether as like a kid or as a drummer or as a DJ or as a producer. I always kind of question myself, and I think my team is really good at like reminding me all the things I've achieved, which make me feel like, oh yeah, no, I deserve to be here. Like I can keep going.
Do you suffer from imposter syndrome sometimes?
I don't know what that is.
It's kind of what you're describing, which imposter syndrome is basically like, you're like, I don't belong here. I don't deserve to be here. It's a feeling of like someone's going to find out that I'm actually not as good as they think I am.
Yeah, I feel like to a certain extent, I definitely have that feeling. And like, I'm a fan of so many artists and so many musicians that are so much better than I ever will be, even my brother. Like, there's a lot of people who are so much more talented than I am that I wonder, like, why aren't they here? You know?
I think that's a very humbling kind of place to be, though. You know what I mean? To have some doubts, to just be humble, you know? Because, I mean, there's so many talented people in this world, you know? And it's like, you found your way and you're successful in your way, you know? But to be, like, overly confident with everything, I always feel like that's sometimes not the best way to be about it.
I suppose it could go either way. Like, to me, I've been doing this for a long time. I still am shocked when people are at my stage. And like, I will
like,
just never
excites
get,
you. You're
at
like,
this
whoa.
point, I will never get used to it. Like,
Yeah.
I will never take it for granted, which, you know, is the positive way to word it maybe. But when I play, like Coachella is a good example. There's a lot of artists to see. And there's a lot of amazing artists with amazing productions and amazing special guests. For somebody to choose you over somebody else, like, that's a decision they have to make. Somebody buying a ticket to your show or not, I don't have to be worried if they bought the ticket, they're here to see me. But like, at a festival, I doubt myself every single time. Every single person that's here chose me. They're like, this guy better give me a good experience over this or that guy.
Yeah.
I'm still every single time, every single day, 15 years in, playing festivals, I'm still always incredibly grateful that people choose me. And that makes me feel like I need to work really hard.
Yeah.
And my team and I do, to like make it special and make it worth people's time.
That's what makes you, like, who you are.
And
you know?
once I stop feeling that, and I do tell myself that all the time, when I'm up there and I'm not enjoying it, I think that is the signal that, like, I shouldn't be up here.
Yeah.
And I feel like I'll be somebody who will just sort of retire overnight.
Yeah.
At some point, I'm going to be like, hey guys, I'm done.
Yeah.
Because I will feel like, I'm not feeling the flame isn't burning anymore.
Yeah.
And that's maybe the time to retire, essentially. I don't think I would ever retire from making music because it's always my biggest passion. I just think I would, at some point, I could imagine going back to making music just for my friends.
Yeah.
And like, in a world where AI fills our playlists, I could imagine being somebody who's like, what are you feeling? What are you going through? Let me make something for that.
Let me make you a playlist.
You know, that is just for, back to like where I started. But, you know, I still, every time I'm on stage and I do see people smile and sing and like cry, which has been happening way more recently for some reason. Like, people cry during my shows a lot, which has never been the case before. That still keeps me going so much. It doesn't matter how tired I am when I see people like,
oh yeah, just
feeling things
it.
like it. I'm awake at 100% energy every single time.
You know, I sometimes will go in if I start to get imposter syndrome or I'm not, you know, I'm feeling everything you're describing. And I'll go and work a couple services. And when I get the response from the guests and they're like, this isn't like, and I walk out of the restaurant just feeling so re-energized and reinvigorated. And, you know, what you said is actually, it's interesting. Marguerite and I have said for a long time, the morning we wake up and we don't love this anymore, we're out. Hopefully it'll be worth something, you know, because in our industry, we don't, you know, you don't have like, I mean, we just generate revenue, but it's not like, you know, if you're gonna have restaurants, you want to be able to like sell them or do something.
Sure.
But like, I could see myself either just having all these restaurants forever, or the day that I'm on stage and I'm like, why the fuck am I here? This is not what I want to do anymore. I could see myself being the guy in the village, like, hey, come over to the house. I just want to cook something for you. And,
Right?
just cooking for my friends.
Yeah.
You know?
It's almost like going back to the roots to a certain extent.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, one way I will say I have been able to sort of have a very long career is it does all go back to passion, but like, how do you find the passion in times where things are hard?
Yeah.
I think oftentimes people box themselves in really, like for you, the equivalent would have been, I only make sushi and sushi only because that's what I'm known for.
Yeah.
And then one way to get out of it is like, well, I actually really like video games for me.
Yeah.
So I reached out to Riot and I'm like, I love your video game. I would love to do something. And I spent 9 months with the team at Riot designing a skin line where I would make the shop music and like doing all these things, working with developers on like what kind of spray people can click on the wall and like what kind of waves it creates. I loved it. Did it do anything for my career? I mean, not tangibly so.
Yeah.
But I love it so much. It was so much fun. I was like, wow, I could be doing this more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or like doing something for a documentary. Or following other passions. Like I got obsessed with coffee recently. I never drank
Yeah.
coffee.
I saw you're making coffee or something now, right?
Yeah. So I want to like open the best coffee shop in at least LA. I want to be humble
Sick,
about
dude.
it. And because everywhere I go, I'm like, I make way better coffee at home.
Can I taste test?
I would love to. I would actually love to make you my signature.
So did I hear it right? You just said you just recently got into coffee?
Like a few years ago.
Okay, I'd never had an espresso before last summer.
Wow.
Yeah, and I'm now into espresso. And yeah, it's my wife is for years. She, her and her family, they drink tons of espressos, and tons of coffee and cappuccinos and lattes and everything. And I didn't like the flavor. I didn't like anything. And then
Same.
one morning we were jet lagged in Nice, and the sun was coming up, and they're out in front of a coffee shop, and I was getting a matcha because and I go, you know what, fuck it, let me get one of those. And there was something about like it clicked because like the ritual of
Yes.
like sitting on the like on the front patio, looking over the marina as the sun comes up. As I sip this thing, it's a little bit, but also I had only tasted random times around America, but here, in Nice, like it was like thick, and it was like, a little bit sour and like toasted sourdough notes. And for some reason, it worked with me. And now I'm like I'm almost like a little bit of an espresso snob.
Wow.
Because I know I have a palate.
Yeah,
Right.
of course.
But my palate now accepts coffee for what coffee is.
awesome.
And so like I'm obsessed with it now.
Oh my God, I would love to make you coffee next time I see you. So for me, similar thing. The ritual got me into it.
Yeah.
My friends from Canada were visiting. They drink coffee. I'm like, well, I have an espresso. Does that work? Sure. And then I was like, well, I don't really like it that way, but what if I put condensed milk in there? What if I run it through a slice of orange?
Ooh.
So I got into like, well, let me see if I can make it so
Like
I like it.
mixology for
Just sort of trying like, can I get myself to enjoy coffee, even though I don't really like it that much? And I got into, I don't love the flavor, but I do love the ritual. I love the warmth, the coziness.
Yeah.
Well, maybe it's just the wrong bean. So I made a Google spreadsheet with my friends, and I ordered every single bean I could, like through more than 100 beans. And we let's do our best to dissect what we're tasting: acidity, bitterness, sweetness, like thickness. And so I tried to really just understand it. Then I went to Australia, and I had a super automatic. And I only could get so good. And I had coffee everywhere in Australia, and it was so good. I was like, okay.
Their coffee culture is supposed to be incredible, right?
I had amazing coffee. Like even at the airport, they take it seriously. And so I came home and I was like, okay, I don't think I want a latte machines are going to get me there.
Yeah.
So I was like, I got to go the manual route. So I got a La Marzocco.
Yeah.
And I started experimenting with beans, and then I'm like, okay, I'm going to need a grinder, right? This is just, okay. So I got the EG1, which I still love to this day, the Weber Workshop.
Okay.
So I started making recipes, and the better my palate gets, the more I hate coffees everywhere. There's some really good ones out there.
Yeah.
But a lot of them really suck. Like almost all of them suck.
Austin actually has a good espresso
Really?
scene. Yeah. And even like I found some that like whether I'm in New York or I'm in Europe, and I'm like, fuck, this is not as good as Austin.
Yeah, Austin does have a lot
I
of
mean,
good
I
ones.
believe it. I
Yeah.
think our coffee here, for the most part, sucks in LA.
What do you like in
good-
LA?
Myself, my own coffee. I had Community Goods,
Okay.
Community, yeah.
and I heard it's like super popular, so I assumed it's not going to be good. I actually really liked it. I thought it was really good. I met with the owner and asked him a lot of questions, and just by his answers, I could tell he really cares.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He really, really cares. Every single like bit matters, and that made me love it even more because I knew that wasn't just a random coincidence. That was like somebody was passionate about it.
Yeah.
And so after going through all these beans, I realized my favorite beans are from Onyx. I don't know if you've ever had Onyx Coffee Lab.
No.
They're in Arkansas. I love how transparent they are. They on the box say how much they pay the farmers, and it's way over
Right.
market price.
Okay.
And they want to make sure the farmers can continue producing amazing product. And they go to the farms and they test the soil and they do a bunch of cupping, and they essentially, I found myself always gravitating towards their beans. So I reached out and I was like, guys, I love your beans. I would love to make a bean with you. And here's what I'm trying to achieve. So flew to Arkansas, got the whole tour, did a bunch of cupping and like developed my own bean with them.
Damn.
And so
That's
now at home,
awesome.
I drink my own bean,
Wow.
Wow.
which I developed specifically for my signature drink. And
What is your
that's-
signature drink?
It's an iced latte. That's the short
Okay.
version of it, but
Yeah.
it does have 3 different milks
Okay.
because I found that certain milks are better at certain things than others and in
Okay.
different contexts. So I just tried a bunch of different things until I was like, this is my favorite way of drinking it.
Yeah.
Like, can it really be that I'm the only one who thinks this is way better than your go-to coffee? So I started making my friends coffee.
Just like, yeah.
Yes.
It's always the same. And
Let's
so
go.
sometimes I wouldn't even say anything, but like I would make myself a coffee. Somebody shows up and like, oh man, you're making coffee. It's like, oh yeah, I already made one. Do you want it? Sure. And like I just kind of observe them and they
Yeah.
have a sit and they're like, this is really good. Like, I know it is. It
There
really
it
is.
is.
So my own little minor research led me to think that I make better, at least lattes, with my signature mixture than most. So my thinking now is it's my passion. I love doing it. It's not my business, and I'm not doing
Yeah.
it to make money.
Yeah.
If I could create a space that is just you love to be there, you want to sit there, you want to have a coffee, and you feel inspired, maybe creators go there and get inspired. I want to create that for the city that I'm in that I feel like doesn't quite have it at that scale.
Yeah. That is dope. Can people
Yeah,
buy
that
your
is pretty
coffee right
dope.
now? Like,
They
is it available
can.
online? Or?
It is available.
Where do you buy it?
You can buy it on Zedd.net on my website or
Yeah.
on Onyx Coffee Lab. The bean's called Telos, named after my album. And it's obviously only available for a short amount of time
Yeah.
because the farmers spent 11 months
Yeah.
growing
it.
and then you have one yield.
Yeah.
And you can only roast it so long.
So are you going to do another one in the next season, or
When my coffee shop is ready,
are you actually working on one?
yeah.
Sick.
I don't have a location,
Okay.
but I have a concept. I
Yeah.
like have a lot of design language.
Do you have an idea of where you want it to be? Do you want it to be
I'm-
near your house?
I mean, ideally, it's a terrible place to go. Actually, I live really close to sushi.
I
So
I wasn't going to say where you live. I know where you live.
Yeah.
But
maybe yeah, I haven't decided. I will pick
I
your brain
have-
now that I know you.
Well, I also, I mean, I have a ton of real estate people that I work with for
Oh,
commercial
cool.
Yeah.
stuff. So if you actually get to a place where you're like, you know what, I want to find a space, let me know. I can put you in touch with some people. I
That would
can
be amazing.
maybe help you find something.
That would be incredible.
Yeah.
I would love to chat to you more about that. Now that I know you're into it.
Yeah.
But comes from the same sort of point. I used to make it for my friends.
That's it.
They love it. I love it. I want to be able to give people a space to experience this all the time if they want to. Mine is
He's describing how NADC started.
No,
Really?
yeah, for sure.
This is exactly how it started.
Definitely.
Yeah. We for the first year and a half, we never sold a burger. We gave them away for free. We just make them for people.
Make them for our friends. Make 'em
Really?
for people,
Yeah.
yeah.
Show up to a skate park, free burgers.
Really?
Go to a comedy show at the after party.
That's
flipping
amazing.
burgers.
Yeah,
and
we would just put our money together and like make 50 burgers and
Really?
like pop up.
And then you would
cook
see
'em
how they
live.
react to it.
Yeah.
But we did, like, as a professional skateboarder and everything he does, like he's busy and has careers. I'm fucking busy. I have all my stuff. Never thought like, what am I gonna do? Waste my time with a burger? You know what I mean? But for fun, we would, like, we started out, like, started hanging out. It's like we Like, what do you want to do this weekend? Roast a whole pig. What do you want to do next week? Let's make some steaks. We want to
Yeah.
make burger. And then for some reason we're like, let's do the burger again. And we
Yeah, yeah.
really started like tinkering with it. And then we're like, we should go make these for people.
Yeah,
and
just
then
pop up.
That's amazing.
fast forward
I love that.
a couple years, we have 11 of them now in like 6 different cities or something.
Yeah. It's
That's how a
growing.
lot of good things start,
Yeah.
right? Not because, hey, there's an opportunity to make money. It's like, I love doing this.
Yeah.
And you kind of want, if you're doing it for yourself, you're going to want to make the best you can.
Yeah.
And I'm not that you don't know how to do that. I mean, obviously, this is already way in your wheelhouse, but it is sort of a minor departure, I feel like. It is certainly a lot more simple in terms of.
I don't know that it's more simple.
Oh,
we
really?
spent honestly, more editing
Yeah.
and production
Really?
has gone into this than maybe anything I've ever. We
Interesting.
stopped tinkering when we opened New York.
Probably, but I'm sure there's more
Right?
tinkering to be
There
done.
probably is, but like that's like 3 or 4 years of
Yeah.
like we're still making minor adjustments until we
Yeah.
fucking okay, we got it.
Wow.
And the way we build the burger is identical to the way that we build the sushi, which is like everything is there for a specific reason. Exactly this amount of this, exactly this thickness. Because if the hamachi is this thick or this thick, it's going to taste different in your mouth. It's going to chew different in your mouth. What kind of bun? How thick are the buns? How much do we toast the buns? You know, what do we do with the onions? And so every single piece, like we like to say that our burger's not. When people think they read, oh, Michelin star chef burger, they think it's going to have like truffles or foie
Yeah, yeah,
gras.
Yeah.
But you get it, and you're like, I've had this burger 1,000 times. I've never had it this good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And and that's really what we really, you know, it's like if you just wanted to write one song from any genre, if you know how to, once you understand music, you can, like you said, once you
Yep.
understand the language, you can just speak. So when it comes to like working on a burger, and it's the two of us together. So
Yeah.
he actually designed the salt rub, the seasoning that's on our burgers, and that's how.
Do you have experience in, like, previous experience in doing that? Or was this just something you kind of went with your gut?
I've always been a home cook. So
Okay.
I created my own spice business in
Oh, wow.
2018. And then from there, I would just sell them online because I've just always cooked for myself at home and for my family and stuff. And I got into like healthy eating and like fitness and stuff. So I started getting into like meal prepping and stuff.
Yep.
And I just wanted to make it easier to season your chicken and like make things taste good.
They're
with your
fucking
meal prep.
so good.
Incredibly similar. I mean, I've had the burger. The burger.
Oh,
is
that's right. Yeah, yeah.
sensational.
Sick.
Yeah,
No
yeah.
way.
Incredible. At my show, backstage. Perfect.
Oh, let's go.
That was amazing. It's sensational. But what you're saying is like not far away from how I continued my path into coffee. Is like I realized it made me less hungry.
Yeah.
And I was trying to cut calories. So it's like, wait, I can just have a cup of this and it's going to make me a little bit less hungry.
Oh, hell yeah.
So that's what got me into it. And then I was like, okay, and this is another part of my coffee shop. I wanted to be incredibly, at least on the drink side, very healthy.
Yeah.
So I don't do any syrups. I also don't have that side part of a coffee shop where people can fix their coffees.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Like, I hate the aesthetic asymmetry of
Make
that.
it omakase style. Like, this is the coffee. Fucking come
No,
like this. Yeah.
it's 100%. I want a small menu, but everything on the menu is perfect.
Yeah.
If you have to fix the coffee I made you, like I should be paying you.
You shouldn't need to be seasoning it. You shouldn't
Exactly.
need to season your own dish.
Like I want to create like people don't have to fix the stuff I make for them,
Yeah.
right? And also it's calorically incredibly like my signature drink has 135 calories
Oh, perfect.
and 7 grams of protein,
Oh,
which is not that bad, and it's kind of sweet, and there's no artificial sweetener in there.
wow. Okay.
And so that's what I started doing. I wrote down my calories and my protein, and I
Yeah.
do them in a sheet. And it's like, well, I need to be cautious because I want to cut,
Yep.
and I still want my coffees.
So you
So
have
how
to
do I
keep
make them as
everything
delicious as
low.
they can be without like compromising too much? So I don't want to get into like, here's your 450 calorie frappuccino with whatever. Like there's a lot of people who do that really well.
Yeah.
That's not what I want to do. I want to just make exceptionally good like coffee beverages. Very few, but very well with an exceptionally beautiful design and aesthetic.
I love that.
Like think Apple, but for coffee.
I can't
Yeah,
fucking wait.
I love
And I'm
that.
sure it's gonna have an
That is
awesome
so
playlist.
Yeah.
You're gonna
Oh,
write all the
yeah.
music. For
I
the
also want to
fucking-
be the barista for at least a little while.
Yeah,
I
you
want to do the
have
same
to.
like training, and I want to be able to know exactly everything before I ask someone else to do it. I want to be able to do it myself.
Yeah, that's so important. I mean, he gets behind. I mean, when we open a restaurant and people will come in because they're huge fans of his, and they'll be like, "Where's Neen?" And we like look back in the kitchen.
Oh, really?
And he's fucking.
Oh, that's
you know,
amazing.
Yeah, we
Oh,
get
yeah.
our hands. We're
See,
in
the
there
same,
always.
same attitude.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
No,
Same spirit.
it's
That's the
very,
best
very
part.
important. You need to, especially if you're gonna have a restaurant or a coffee shop, but anything like that. Like, there's two ways you can operate like a store. You can either not operate it and just hire people, but then you should stay the fuck out of their way, or it should be yours.
Yeah.
And you should be able to at any moment push anyone out of the way and do their job better than they can.
Yep.
And he's not a, he says he's a home cook, which is like a fucking, it's an insult to himself. Like for the giant hearth at Scratch Bar, like the big fucking fireplace. He has one in his backyard, right? So
Okay,
like,
so you really love it.
yes.
Yeah.
So he's
I'm
you know,
passionate about
He's
it.
not just like making
You know?
grilled cheese sandwiches. He's fucking. He has a hole cut in the ground in his backyard for like doing fucking barbacoa.
Wow.
And shit.
Yeah, yeah.
That's
But-
Bury
amazing.
it. Wake
Wow,
up in
that's
the morning.
awesome.
But yeah,
so
I mean,
sick.
but he was never a professional cook
Right.
on a line.
Yeah.
Cooking a dish is way different than selling 1,100 burgers in 8 hours, right?
Is that a real number?
Yeah.
That's insane.
It's a lot off of one
crazy.
griddle this fucking big.
Wow.
But now he can walk into any one of our spots and move anyone to the side and work their station better than they can.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
I respect that
Practice.
so much. I respect that so much. And I'm convinced, no matter how good the burger is, this attitude and spirit goes all the way through, all the way to the end when the person is biting into the burger.
Oh,
We hope so.
I
We
think
hope
the
so.
people making the burgers when you're not there that know how much you care,
Mm-hmm.
like it creates a sense of family and like responsibility of like, well, I don't want to mess this up. Like, I know this guy cares.
Yeah.
Like, who wants to hurt someone? You know what I mean? Like, you want people to be happy.
Yeah, I love our crew too. They're all like
That's
super
amazing.
awesome people.
That's
you know?
amazing. This is
Very-
the core to
Yeah.
any business, I think, is good people who care.
What as we start to sort of like wrap up everything, I found myself I was about to just be like, what's next? but I was like, oh, this is a perfect segue. So we always sort of wrap with we never plan anything except for our final question.
Uh-huh.
And that is, and I love it because everyone has their own version of their answer. But so Neen pulls out a magic lantern, rub it, genie comes out. You get one wish. But you have to stipulate that one wish is solely to design what your life looks like 10 years from now. No holds barred. What does your life look like if you could design every aspect of your utopian existence?
Ooh, that's an insane question.
Ooh.
I think 10 years from now, I live not in the city, somewhere a bit more remote, either by the ocean or like, I don't know, Montana. And I have created a mini civilization where all my friends live with me. My partner lives with me. Maybe I have kids 10 years. Maybe I should have kids by then. Everyone does what they're passionate about, but also helps each other keep this community amazing. Like maybe we have a baker, maybe we have a doctor, and they're all responsible for each other. I make music just based on the things that I'm really passionate about. I don't look at the algorithms one bit. I don't look at what's popular. I play a lot of video games with my friends.
I love that.
And I have expanded my coffee shop to every major city so that every city has what I consider the best coffee for when they want it.
Amazing.
I love that, dude.
What video games do you play?
Valorant is one
I
I
don't know
love.
it.
It's like it's similar to Counter-Strike,
Okay.
Okay.
but it's a 5v5. I think the key part here is like I love playing video games with my homies.
Yeah.
It is how I decompress every night. We all do our own things.
Yeah.
And then we have dinners wherever we live. And at 9:30, we get together. And either we just chat or we play video games. So that's going to either be that or Hearthstone Battlegrounds, which is a card game, a genre called auto chess.
Okay.
That you can play literally on your iPad, on your phone, on your Samsung fridge if you want to. Like on any device, you can play it anywhere. So for traveling, that's like my main game because I can always play it.
What's it called?
Hearthstone Battlegrounds.
Okay.
And it's actually how I got in shape, ironically.
No way.
I put it on my elliptical, and I
Yeah.
just play there. And it makes me want to go like, a game is about 30-ish minutes. So I'll play one game, and it's like, well, I might as well.
How are you playing while you're?
It's kind of a round-based game. So
Okay.
you can kind of go, and it's kind of like think chess.
Okay.
It's not a lot of action. You just
Okay.
kind of
Yeah.
do your couple moves, and then you kind of wait for a minute. And
Yeah.
you go and you do a couple moves, and you go again. And sometimes like, I'll play another one. I want to play, and I just lost. And
Yeah.
I'm 90 minutes on the elliptical. I burned
shit.
700 calories, and I didn't even
Crazy.
think about
Yeah.
like you forget that you're on the elliptical or treadmill because your mind is so focused
Yeah.
on like this game.
Yeah, yeah.
So I started doing this every day, and I do cardio every day for somewhere between an hour and a half. And
Dope,
I
dude.
play that game with my friends who are all I bought everyone iPads
So they can
So
play.
sick.
and treadmills,
Hell yeah.
so we
No
can
way.
all work out and be healthy and play video game at the
That's
same
I
time.
so dope.
watched all of The Wire on a treadmill.
Really?
1 hour episodes. I'd run.
This is how I started.
Yeah, Joe told me that Rogan was like, if you like, just he's like, I'd get on the thing, put on John Wick. 2 hours would go by, like it just
Yeah.
and so I started being like, if I'm gonna sit there for an hour and watch a movie or an episode, it's like, well, what if I just walk for an hour?
Yeah.
Well, what if I just start to jog for an hour?
Yep.
Now, what if I run for an hour?
Yep.
And you got the earphones in and you're watching it and you're
Yep.
fucking locked in, especially when it's a show that's like that, exhilarating. And all of a sudden, hours are going away in like fucking 5 minutes.
This is exactly how I started. I
Yeah.
started watching my
Movement.
shows only on the elliptical.
Yeah.
Nowhere else. Only when I'm there. So it's like, well, if I want to know how this ends, I'm gonna have to run.
Yeah.
What I found myself in is like I slow down because it's like tension.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, oh, I forgot, I need to keep going. So the game keeps me going way more. For
Okay.
some reason, like the dynamic of the game just keeps me going way more, and I burn a ton of calories, and I can do it with my friends, whether they're there or remote. So that's like my hack on staying in shape is I play a game, game that works
That's
for
a dope
you.
hack.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
so good. And it never feels like I'm doing anything.
Yeah.
Genuinely.
You're
Yeah.
just playing a game. And
Just playing a game with your friends. I'm in Discord. We're all chatting, and like the hour goes by so fast. You
Yeah.
like same thing Joe said, right?
Yeah.
You don't even feel like you're working out because you're actually focused on
Yeah.
something else.
Yeah. No,
The-
it's become my favorite thing.
beyond the coffee spot that you want to do, what else do you have coming?
Good question. I have a couple loose projects
Okay.
this year. One is I'm making a fully orchestral album,
Oh,
to
sick.
explore another path.
Yeah.
My last album was extremely orchestral, inspired by mostly Silverchair, who's a band I love.
Mm-hmm.
They released an album, Diorama, that was like rock but mixed with orchestra, and I really loved how it felt to put those two together. So my album Telos, it has a lot of orchestra in it already, and I thought, why not just take it to the complete extreme and display my music fully orchestral, so you can
Sick.
just experience the notes in it without
Yeah.
being kind of
Are
covered
you
by
gonna
them.
Are you gonna like basically remake songs that you have in an orchestral, style, or are you writing new music, or both?
No. So it's the exact same album,
Okay.
fully orchestral. So
Oh wow.
I have been working with Jeremy Kittel, who is a phenomenal orchestrator and string player himself.
Mm-hmm.
He did all the strings. He essentially is the orchestra
Oh,
on
wow.
my album. You think it sounds like a real orchestra. It's one guy playing 51 times, essentially. And he, so the advantage is anytime I wanted to change anything about that orchestra, I have each string individually in my project file, and I can pitch anything. When you put a microphone to an orchestra, there's so much bleed between the players. You're kind of stuck with what you have without going into like really advanced tools. So I love this process. And so he is the orchestra. And a lot of the orchestra didn't make it into the album just because sonically there's only so much space.
Yeah.
I need to kick the cut, and like I only have so much room. So this is a really great way to also showcase more of what he had already recorded that didn't make it into the album. So that is one major project that I really am passionate about, a fully orchestral album
I'm
as a
excited
DJ.
to hear that.
More or less polar opposite of what people expect me to do. And a couple smaller, I'm trying not to say too much, a couple smaller songs for projects like outside of music, like music for other projects,
Yeah.
like video games,
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Yeah.
that I have sort of promised to deliver.
Sick.
And then I want to like finish. Oh, and I'm making a music book, which is kind of how I got started with piano. My parents would buy me music books,
Yeah.
sheets, like reinterpretations of other music pieces. So I'm making that. So to hopefully inspire kids
Yeah.
to pick up an instrument. Maybe they love EDM, but they are interested in instrument.
Yeah.
Then they can combine both worlds.
Dope.
Aside from that, I want to like sit down and live and get inspired. Like
Yeah.
my genuine, honest answers, I have no idea where my career musically will go because I feel like right now I have delivered like the baby. And now I need to get inspired and see what gets the flame to burn the brightest. And
Yes.
then I will follow that, whatever that is.
Amazing.
Yeah, I love that.
Well, we're gonna keep following along, as will everybody else.
Thank you very
Yeah,
much.
dude.
Thanks
Thank you
saying
for
that.
coming on.
Yeah.
man.
Oh, it's my pleasure. That was
Huge
so
fan
fun.
too, by the way.
Thank you
Yeah, I
so
love
much,
your
man.
stuff, dude.
Thank you.
Yeah, man.
Thank you for
Yeah.
saying that. Thank you for your time. Thanks for
Thank
inviting
you for
me.
your fucking time.
Yeah,
Seriously.
pleasure.
That's great.
Pleasure.
Yeah.
to be here.
Well, again, we can only say thank you so many times.
Appreciate you, brother.
Thank you so much. guys. Thank you.
That's a wrap on today's episode. Hit subscribe now if you want to follow along. We have some awesome guests lined up that we sit down with. Make sure you follow the Not a Damn Chance podcast on socials at NADC Podcast. We'll see you next week.